Hello, everyone. Welcome to NuPath Live. My name is Dan Harrison. I'm your host. Today is February 24th, and I should say of 2022. You know, I was going back and looking through some old video clips, and we've done a lot together. And it occurred to me I need to start saying the year because we're going into our third year of doing these with some regularity. And if you're some of the people that have been watching regularly, thank you and congratulations. Um, it's the best way to stay connected to NuPath, what's going on, what's happening, and if NuPath is important to you, this is a way for you to stay in the know. Before we're going to talk to somebody in the second half of our episode today, but I wanted to just share some thoughts and some news with you, and frame it in a particular way. Even as we're looking forward to spring, and warmer weather and all of that. Um, this has been a kind of a sad month or two for me, and I've been thinking about what was happening a year ago. And I was looking at my phone at this picture of my mother. It was taken on February 25th, which is a year ago today. Well, it was a Thursday, but this year it's the 24th. And I had my mother over to my apartment in Woburn, and she had just started hospice. And of course, we didn't know that she'd be dead in 22 or 23 days on March 19th. And I was just thinking about how when we lose somebody in our lives, the rest of the world just marches on, but it's not a bad thing to remember that it can be a painful and a process, healing. And at the same time, we learned some very sad news that Dan Mckay Sr., who was Danny Mckay's father, passed away recently on the 21st of this month. And that was such a shock to me. We knew he'd been ill, and our hearts and prayers go out to his wife, Cindy, and to Dan, of course, and to his sister, and I think he's got a brother. He was only 67 years old. He was a young, I consider that young, but he had been battling a number of medical issues, and we were just so sorry to hear about his passing. And it made me think about some things related to the Mckays and to this man that you see on the screen, Dan Mccann. I just want to talk about him for a couple of minutes. I met him many, many years ago when his son was being referred to our organization and ended up moving into our home on Arlington Road here in Woburn. And we, in fact, we featured them in our first annual celebration. Now, for those of you who are new and have never been to an annual celebration, if we ever get this crazy pandemic behind us, we will be returning to them because they were one of the highlights of the year. This was our first one. We called it an annual meeting in those days, October 9th, 2014. And Greg and I were talking before. I look back at these slides and I have this kind of just this fond nostalgia for those days. It was so different then. We were a smaller organization. And look, we didn't even have our branding yet. We'd probably just done that in a Word document, the one NuPath. But this was the exercise that we went through to really think about coming together as one, supporting one another. What were the values that were important to us? And that year was in October, as I said, we featured for the first time our core values. Now, we know them as cubics. We talk about them: community, unity, belonging, innovation, collaboration, sharing. And I was struck when I was looking through the PowerPoint from that presentation and the order of the slides. We didn't have cubics yet. We had the core values. They're there: collaboration, community, innovation, sharing, unity, belonging, but not our beloved cubics that helps us remember them. But this is the year that we first began to kind of roll them out and to think about what it meant. And we featured several different sort of vignettes that year, and Dan Mckay was one of them because Danny had been had a year of suffering cancer himself, and it was a real year of challenge. And our staff would go to the hospital do things to support the family. And I just think about what that family has been through, and my heart just breaks for Cindy. She is so strong, but she's been through so much, and so this would have been, as I said, well, like 7 or 8 years ago. Um, but that year, at the end, we read this letter that Dan had written. What my family has been through this past year, I would not have wished upon anyone. The hardest part was watching my child suffer and feeling helpless. On the other hand, we also learned how much good there is in the world. NuPath has been incredibly helpful and a great support. I love to hear that. They have been instrumental in helping us get through this. Cindy and I would like to thank everyone who visited, sat with Danny, sent a card or arrangement, or came to his party. We had a party here at NuPath Forum. Knowing that Danny is healthy is such a weight off our shoulders. We cannot thank NuPath enough. And of course, now we've learned that he has passed on. One other story I wanted to share is that I credit this man, Dan Mckay, for so much of what's become a part of our branding, our messaging, in the work that we do with videos. It's not that common in our field to have such a vibrant video messaging platform. But he said to me one day, there was a family meeting in those days. They used to meet here in the conference room on the second floor outside my office, and the autism families were very involved, and we're transition, and so we met like once a month or once every 6 weeks. And he says, I'd rather watch a short video telling me something than to read a long, boring email from you. And which I said, come on, Danny, you never read any of my emails. But that got me thinking. And that March 26th, I think, is one of my first videos I ever did. I went on the roof, already trying to do something to capture some impact. And since that day, since that conversation with this man, we've produced and sent out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos, far too numerous for me to even remember what they're all about. Hopefully you caught a few of them, and hopefully they've done much to help people that want to stay connected with the organization. And I believe so strongly that we owe that to the suggestion of Dan Mckay Sr. So once again, we just send all of our love and prayers to the family during this difficult time. And yeah, it's whatever we've got going on, somebody else could be going through something worse. It's good to remember that. All right, take a breath. And now we are going to talk about something more fun than death. And that is the staff person we're going to be interviewing the rest of this episode. Now, it was about a year or so ago that we featured her, and she was telling us about what was going on at the Martin Center. Well, here, why don't we watch this video? Might trigger your memory if you were watching back then, and then we'll go right into the interview with this person. Could you give us a refresher course, because it's been a little while, and how do you do the Macarena? What do you do?
Oh my God.
What is it? No, do you know?
For real? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Baila tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo hay que darle alegría y cosas buenas. Baila tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Ay.
Bravo! Bravo! So, Danissa, does that refresh your memory as to what you were doing on NuPath Live on March 21st of 2021?
Oh, I will never forget that. Yes, definitely.
What did you say? Are we really doing this? Is this really happening or something? Oh,
Yep.
It was so fun. And afterwards, Brett and Greg were like, I can't believe you asked her to do that. And you, without missing a beat, you just rose to the occasion, your head held high, and you've got a lovely voice too. So I'm the fool that's like, should be like, if you're watching, like I'm always like 3 steps behind you. We had fun. We were talking about the Martin Center, kind of that staff day that we did where we had the trucks and the food trucks and everything else. That was fun. It's been a long year. I want to hear about what's been going on for you and catch up a little bit. I know people will be interested to hear from you, but I want to start off by saying congratulations for your recent promotion to a program support coordinator. And in a minute, I'm going to give you a chance for you to explain to us what a program support coordinator does. You've been in the position since, well, a whopping like 8 days. You're promoted officially on February 16th. And this is so neat to me. And part of the reason I wanted, when I heard you, when I got the email from Elder that you'd been promoted, I said we got to get her back on because you talked about how much you loved working here in our interview a year ago, and you said you just love to learn, you just want to learn more and more things. And I said to myself, we've got to make sure Danissa is getting opportunities to do training and so on. And then I don't know if that happened. I hope it did. But then I heard you were thinking about leaving, and then the next thing I know, you're being promoted to. Tell us what happened. You did it. A year ago you were direct support professional, and now you're a program support coordinator. Talk to us about it.
Well, dreams comes true. Definitely. When I started working here, like I told some of my coworkers, when I did the interview, they asked me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I told them I see myself being a supervisor. I see myself working, out there and providing more the skills that I know I have somewhere hiding. And here I am, in a new position, ready to learn. I know I have an amazing team right now that they are ready to teach me the skills that I'm looking for to keep growing here in NuPath.
I just love it. I love it when people, our own people that we've cultivated and that have grown and evolved, are able to apply for and get positions of leadership, and that is really exciting. Now, did you see the posting come out for it, or how did you? I mean, were you nervous about applying? Like, were you sleepless? You said you were kind of nervous coming on here. Only I didn't give you too much notice. I just found out about an hour ago we were going to interview you. But for that interview, talk to us about what that was like.
It was scary, like just looking at the job and say, do I qualify for that? Can I do that? And talking to family members and having the input from other people say, listen, you got it, you can do it, you are more capable to do so much, and don't hesitate to go for it. And I did it, and here I am, and looking forward to keep growing.
Danissa, one of my favorite mottos in life goes like this: when you be bold and courageous, when you look back on your life, you will regret the things you didn't do more than the things you did. And that has never steered me wrong, because if you don't go for something, you'll have that question for the rest of your life, never knowing what's the worst that's going to happen. If you don't like it, if it's not for you, you do something else. But you've shown the courage to do it. Was it a hard interview? What kinds of questions did they ask you? Like, where you said the one where you're going to be in 5 years. What were some of the questions?
Well, what can I tell you? What are my plans to my thoughts to bring to this position, and how do I see myself here working with everyone around, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I'm sure that's stuff that you were yourself wondering. How is the position different from what you were doing before? Because before were you a direct support professional, or what were you called? You were
Development specialist.
Oh, development specialist. That's right. That's what I meant. And so now you're a program support coordinator. So how is it different? What are your additional responsibilities?
Well, I'm still baby. I'm still learning. One of them is pretty much helping my coworkers, bringing the programs together with activities, ideas, bring new environment to different rooms around, the building. So I'm looking forward to help out, help out Elder Rosalinda, so everybody can have an amazing time here and make it easy for everyone.
Yeah, and I suppose do you have a way to bring in new dance moves? New dances. People always talked about how you're such a bright energy at the Martin Center because there's always lively music coming out of your room. You talked about what songs that are part of your sort of culture identity and teach other people that are in your. I mean, people enjoy that. Um, and now you have a chance to supervise. Do you supervise staff directly? Do you have to?
Yes, yes. From now on, yeah, I need to learn that skill, how to engage with coworkers and supervise them and bring the best from them to succeed.
I was so nervous when I became supervisor for the first time, and I think I supervised. I think maybe I worked in a workshop, probably not that different from the Martin Center. Things were so different back then, but I had one room, and I think maybe 9 clients, and like I think 4 staff. Oh, I just took it so seriously. I remember having my little staff meetings or my team meetings, and anything my director told me, wanted so much to do well and to succeed and to prove to myself that I was capable of doing it, because you don't know, you know what is. And um and I remember just loving it from the start. Of course, a long time and many many positions ago that I was doing that. But it doesn't matter where you are in life. Every time you're doing something new. I remember I was COO of NuPath for 10 years before the previous CEO retired and asked. And the day I found out about it, and I found out that the board was going to be doing interviews, and I was like, I don't know if I can do the job. I don't know if I could be CEO. And so even though I'd had all kinds of responsibility and been COO and was running the organization in so many ways for 10 years, I still doubted myself. But just look at me now.
It's a lot of processing, and your mind is very tricky, making you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very tricky, but
And women tend to be so much harder on themselves than men. I don't mean to, do gender stereotyping, because that's probably what I'm doing, and I don't mean any harm by it. But a woman, when receiving an opportunity, you guys are inclined to be like, well, do I have the skills for this? Am I the right person? I wouldn't want to take the position if I wasn't going to be, maybe there's somebody else that would do a better job. You talk to your family. Is this the right time for us? We have all these other things going on. You maybe consult your mother, your father, and then in the end, you'll say, well, I've thought it through. You ask a guy the same thing, for an opportunity. They don't even think twice, even if they're not qualified. They'll be like, sure, I can do it. And off they go. And I just wish so many of our smart, talented, just vibrant female leadership team, people on their leadership, would just have more confidence in themselves, because you guys, you just bring so much to the table. Everybody does in their own way, but it's going to be so great having you around and having you at some of the meetings. Does this mean that you can sometimes come to our business meeting?
maybe.
I don't know if the coordinator levels do or not. See, but this is just going to be the first of many, many, many promotions. What are things like now, Danissa, over there? We've had the, the Omicron, sort of variant going through, and obviously how difficult things have been. Are you short-staffed there still? How are things going for you?
We're becoming back to normal. It's getting better and better. Seeing the individuals coming through that door, it's the sun coming through. It's amazing to see them, coming in here and enjoy day by day the things that we're providing them, and we're so excited that we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like everything is like coming to what used to be, but much better, because we're back to better now. So definitely.
You know how to make me smile. Hey, I'm going to tell you a little secret. We've got a new campaign that hasn't, I don't think we've been doing official launch yet, but you'll be hearing more about it. And that is New in 22. And here's the thing. I've got you just for like a couple more minutes. I'm going to use this as a chance to kind of share this idea I had. So, you know how in your kitchen, many people have what you have a junk drawer in your kitchen. Like, do you have a junk drawer? I have a loaded with stuff, right? And let's say one day you're trying to get something way in the back, and something happened to the drawer, and it kind of flipped out, and everything inside the drawer fell out all over the floor. Well, that would suck, right? You'd be like, ugh. But then you thought, well, why I'm at it, let's just make some sense out of this. I don't need this old tape. I've got 3 of these. I don't need this in here. And you're going to put it back in a completely different way, nice and neat and orderly, and maybe using things that you had used before. And you're not trying to put it back exactly as it was. And that's how I feel like we need to start looking at our day services and the way we providing services. We're like COVID's like, it was like taking that junk drawer, which was our services before, dumping it all out. And we've been trying to put everything back exactly as it was before. And we just need to be thinking about what's new in 22. How can we rebuild the vital, exciting programs? We have got so many dedicated, talented, committed staff. Let's start from scratch. Let's think about what new things we can bring, things maybe we never had before, some things maybe we did, but not always feeling like we're trying to get back to something that we had been at before. And that was kind of like, I don't know, this awakening in my mind. I was trying to get like jazzed up again and motivated again, and we did the back to better thing, and but now I think we're gonna just let's set our sights in the future. Listen, did you share your last time you were on NuPath Live? Did you watch it with any of your family members? Did you have a?
I did. I did watch it with my kids, my husband, my mom. So
Good.
it was fun to watch their reaction, and I'm like, Mama, why are you dancing? I was like, well.
And so I hope you're going to watch it again tomorrow night.
Yes.
And I will tell you this, that your episode has had one of the highest number of views of
Oh my gosh.
like 187 or something. So I think word got out that you're quite the singer. Is there anything you need, Danissa? Is there anything that we can help you with? Would you have any message for any aspiring staff person out there that maybe wants to try to do more but is afraid? What would you say to them? Is it worth the risk?
Don't think it twice. Just do it, and you will get there. Patience is one thing that we have to have, and little by little we're gonna get there. And don't worry about it. You will be fine.
And we'll train, right? You're gonna give you lots and lots of support. Well, you know what you said about Elder when we talked the last time. You said, "Oh, I hope he can stay. I hope he can stay." And you guess you got your wish because you asked for it. We gave it to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
What are we going to talk to you next? In a year's time, are you going to have another promotion? Do we need to have you back?
Who knows? Maybe I'll be the next CEO.
You know what? Next time you're over here, you come over here and sit down in front of my desk and see if you like the feeling of it, because you could be, and that would make me very happy. Because I'm not going to be doing this forever. I can tell you that much. And we need people with bright energy and commitment and creativity and all of that stuff. So.
No, thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. It's been a bless.
Danissa Germosen, you are fantastic. We're so lucky that you're here with us. Please don't ever go anywhere else, and keep getting promoted, okay?
Definitely. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thanks for being on today. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That girl is going to go places. I know it. I feel it instinctively in my bones, and I'm old, so I know these things. Congratulations, Danissa, and thank you all for wishing her congratulations with me. I shouldn't say anything because I don't want to jinx anything, although I'm not superstitious, but I'm sure there'll be people swearing at me everywhere if they hear me talking about it. But here I am, getting ready to talk about it. We've been under such pressure for the lack of staffing and candidates for so many of our vacant positions. And I had a chance to talk to Michelle Bellevue yesterday in my office, and we were just catching up on some things. And she said, she says, I feel like things are getting better. We've hired new staff. There's some new staff have been starting. She's hired a new manager. I think there were 13 total staff hired residentially last month. We're up to now 18 or more, maybe it's 20 new staff across the entire organization. Yeah, it's just it's just a fraction of all the positions we have to fill. But each person that starts, it just is a little bit of relief. And I think that, well, Michelle anyway says that she feels that she senses a positive change is in the air, and we're continuing to hope that trend continues, because we've got a lot of work to do, guys. Um, we've got we've got we've got we've got to start figuring out what we're all about in 2022, and you heard me mention it to Danissa, our new campaign slogan, in 22, and I told her the story that in my head, the way I've been thinking about it. You know, that junk drawer that we all have in our kitchens. I've always had one my whole life. You know, it's just that you hate even going in it. It falls, spills everywhere. But you say, this is the chance that we need right now to do something different. We're not going to pack it back in the drawer the same way that it was. Never will be like that again. We're going to take this opportunity to make it better, and that's what we're going to do at NuPath. That's why we're talking about not back to anything, but new in 22. And our junk drawers are going to be so neat, ladies and gentlemen. Wait till you see how great they are. All right. This has been an odd episode, but I think a really great one. And thanks to this, we ended at a positive note. And just because I can, and I had a couple of minutes, would you let me give you guys an update on my buddy JWST, the James Webb Space Telescope? We got our first selfie taken over 1.2 million miles away from the Earth. And I'm just going to have Greg reverse the animation there a little bit, if you can go back to the selfie before that. So these are the mirrors that we've been talking about. This is what's going to give this amazing machine that's hurtling at Lagrange point 2 for the next 10 years. There are 18 of these hexagonal mirrors. I've not been able to pronounce my words lately. It means 18 of these mirrors, and now they have to be calibrated. They have to be aligned. The way it was described is they're like 18 little divas, like doing their own thing. And what they will be after probably by about April 24th, is going to be a coordinated choir, if you use that metaphor. But they are going to be calibrated to within just mere millimeters, and to the precision that would be equal to about half the thickness of a human hair, if you could imagine such a thing. And so this is the selfie taken in space. They actually, what they look like, each one of them has got is referred to by a particular code. And the way the scientists have done this now is, it's kind of interesting. They've chosen a star. The star is not very sexy. It's called HD 84406, and it's part of the Ursa Major constellation, or the Bear, as you may know it. And the reason they chose it is because it was relatively free from other light clutter around it. And so each of these mirrors took a snapshot. That's what, if we can just reverse the animation one more time, take that honeycomb. Each of those is the same star taken by one of these mirrors. And when they're done calibrating them all, it would be of one single star. They say this would be the equivalent of somebody in New York City being able to see somebody 311 miles away on the Canadian border and see them blink their eyes. That is the precision of these mirrors. And then we'll start to get back in time and get back into history and find out all the answers to the things we don't know. And maybe it's got some answers for us about what's new in 22, but we're going to find out together. Hey, everybody, we got this. Thanks for being here today. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.